Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is once again rejecting from this critical area of resistance, but is no longer forming the hidden bearish divergence on the daily time frame, but is now playing out the traditional bearish divergence on the smaller time frames, while the price of Bitcoin is still forming a lot of liquidity to the downside, while Ethereum is still playing out this bearish divergence here in the short term. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the 4-day Bitcoin chart, and right now the super trend's still sitting in the red, so nothing's changed here on this time frame. So getting straight into the 2-day time frame, and right now we're sitting right around this previous high in the price of Bitcoin. So that's sitting at approximately 64,500, give or take, but we're still sitting below this massive descending line of resistance that has been holding the price of Bitcoin down for around half a year now, and that line of resistance is currently sitting just underneath $68,000. So that is still the level that we need to break out above in order to flip much more bullish again on the larger time frames here, expecting a much larger bullish trend only if we see a breakout above around 68,000. But obviously, during this larger bearish trend, we can see many short-term bullish trends along the way down, and that's exactly what we've seen over the last couple of weeks or so. If we're taking a look at the daily Bitcoin chart, we can see that over the last couple of weeks, we've seen a bearish trend in the DXY, which is bullish for the price of Bitcoin, because typically, not always, but usually when the DXY is bearish, that's often very bullish, or at least somewhat neutral for the price of Bitcoin. And over the last one day, we actually saw a breakdown in the DXY, which is another bullish signal for Bitcoin. But since seeing that breakdown below this previous low in the DXY, since then, we've actually seen another slight bounce, basically exactly back up to where we were sitting just yesterday. So ultimately, just over the last one day, things are looking relatively neutral, even though we saw a small break to the downside. Once again, we're sitting right around where we were yesterday as of right now, with that slight bounce back up. And so overall, in the imminent short term, things are looking relatively neutral for the DXY, but the shorter term trend is looking more bearish for the DXY, which is why the shorter term trend for the price of Bitcoin has been looking more bullish over the last couple of weeks. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin chart right here, we can see that just over the last few days, we've seen many rejections already from this major area of resistance that I've already been warning about since before we hit this resistance, and that's sitting at close to 64,500. Which is really a price range in between around 64.1k to 64.5k approximately. And so far, we are finding a lot of resistance in that price range. And remember, in order to confirm a breakout, we need to see at least a daily candle close well above 64,500. And ideally, it would be even better if we can actually see some sort of retest to flip that area into new support. Because if we see a breakout and then basically confirm this area of resistance as new support by seeing a bounce like that, then in that case, that would add extra confirmation, further confirming the breakout. But we don't necessarily need to see the retest. It's just that would provide extra confirmation, but we need to see at least a daily candle close above 64,500 in order to actually confirm the breakout, not just a candle wick to the upside. And now, if we see a confirmed breakout above 64,500, then in that situation, we could see a move up towards this next area of resistance, and that could happen relatively quickly after we first confirm a breakout above 64,500. And this next resistance, in case you're new to the channel, is sitting in between around 67 to 68,000, and that is massive a resistance on the price chart. That is a significant area to pay attention to, because in between 67 to 68,000, we previously have significant resistance and previous significant support, and also that's a massive cluster of traded volume in the volume profile indicator, acting as a significant area of resistance. And on top of that, if we're looking at this descending line of resistance, that's also coming into play in between 67 to 68,000. And so we have many different data points on the price chart pointing towards 67 to 68,000 as a significant area to pay attention to, which means if we can finally see a confirmed breakout, not just above 64,500, but if we can break out above 68,000, that would be an extremely bullish signal, not just in the short term, but for the longer term trends. Because if we break out above 68,000 with confirmation and hold above that area, then we'll likely see a continued bull market over the following months if we can first see a breakout above 68,000, which obviously for now has not yet happened. And now, despite the fact that the price of Bitcoin is still running into this area of resistance at around 64,500, we actually confirmed a slightly higher high in the price of Bitcoin based on the candle closes right here on the daily time frame. So that means that we no longer have a hidden bearish divergence forming, because obviously over the last few days I discussed the fact that we're seeing higher highs in the Bitcoin RSI on the daily time frame, but we're still sitting in lower highs over the last few days in the daily candle closes in the Bitcoin price. And so, of course, if we're seeing lower highs in the price of Bitcoin in the daily candle closes, while also seeing higher highs in the Bitcoin RSI on the daily time frame, that's a hidden bearish divergence. But now that we've formed a slightly higher high in the candle closes here in the price of Bitcoin on the daily time frame, there's no more hidden bearish divergence forming at all, at least on this time frame right now. And so obviously that is some good news for the Bitcoin bulls out there, but with that being said, we still need to confirm a breakout above 64,500 because this is still acting as a major obstacle for the price of Bitcoin just in the short term. And as for support, in case we see a further rejection here, we should find some decent support close to 63,000, and below 63k we have more support at just underneath 62,000, and this major area of support in between around 60.2k to 61.2k approximately. And when it comes to the short-term trend, things are still technically looking bullish when we're talking about the short-term trend, despite the fact that we're running into resistance right now, because of course we can run into resistance along the way up, like what we saw roughly around 1 to 2 weeks ago. Right here, we did run into this area, which was previously acting as resistance at around 60 to 61,000. We saw a short-term rejection over the next few days and then continued the bullish trend later on. And so for now, the trend is technically still bullish, considering we have not yet confirmed any invalidation signals to invalidate this bullish trend. But once again, in case you're new to all of this, it's important to understand the difference between the different time frames. So when I'm talking about the bullish trend on this daily time frame, this is of course talking about the shorter term trends, and these short term trends here can last for usually a couple of weeks, give or take, before they basically reverse. And the larger trends can last for months, if not years. And so for the last half a year or so, we have been within a larger bearish trend, but this larger bearish trend can contain multiple short-term bullish trends along the way down during the larger bearish trend. That's exactly what we're seeing right now. So a larger bearish trend with a short-term bullish trend that we are currently seeing. And once again, this short-term bullish trend will only confirm into a larger trend, a longer-term bullish trend, if we can see a breakout above around 68,000, which for now has not yet happened. And if we're zooming further into the short term, looking at the 6-hour time frame, we've just recently confirmed a new traditional bearish divergence on the 6-hour time frame just over the last 1 day, with a new higher high in the price of Bitcoin in the candle closes and a lower high confirmed in the 6-hour Bitcoin RSI. And so once again, a bearish divergence means we're losing some bullish momentum just in the short term. And of course, with this coinciding with the fact that we're running into this major area of resistance, I would not be surprised if we continue to struggle around this resistance for potentially the next couple of days or so, because usually a bearish divergence plays out in the form of either a slight pullback or just some choppy sideways price action in order to basically reset the RSI, as we have lost a bit of bullish momentum just in the short term. But a bearish divergence does not necessarily mean this bullish trend is over. So for example, we could play out the bearish divergence possibly over the next couple of days in the short term during this bullish trend on the daily time frame. And so that is the current situation for the price of Bitcoin. Those are the trends that I'm currently watching on the different time frames, the areas of resistance and support that I'm currently watching, and what I'm expecting over the next few days as the most likely scenario. And if you want to trade these moves in the price of Bitcoin or any other crypto, personally, I take just about all of my trades over on Bybit. So I'll make sure to leave a link to Bybit down below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link down below this video to make a Bybit account and deposit on that account, then you can get up to a $30,000 deposit bonus, but only if you use that link down below this video. And also, if you use that link, I'll take you to this page right here, which is a massive lucky draw happening right now over on Bybit. Bybit, where you could potentially win up to $100,000 just by trading crypto using the link down below this video. And so if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well check this out. Once again, first link down below this video. But for whatever reason, if you cannot access Bybit or if you cannot KYC on Bybit, there is Bitfinex, which is another crypto exchange similar to Bybit, but you don't need KYC for Bitfinex, which means if you're in the US or the UK, for example, or another country where you might not be able to access Bybit, you can access Bitfinex. So I will leave a link to Bitfinex down below this video as well. And if you use that link, you can get up to a 5.5k deposit bonus. And only if you use the link below this video to Bitfinex, you can get an exclusive 10% discount on all trading fees on the exchange forever. But that's only if you use the link below this video to make your Bitfinex account. And so as another option out there other than Bybit, once again, there's Bitfinex, links down below if you want to claim those extra bonuses. But with that being said, taking a look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, and right now we still have this major level of liquidity to the downside, which is sitting at around 62.2k to 62.3k approximately. And as of right now, we've now actually got over $1 billion of liquidity right at that level. So there's a lot of liquidity right down there. But while we have that massive amount of liquidity just to the downside here, we still have some liquidity starting to build to the upside. In fact, in the hundreds of millions of dollars, not the billions, but the hundreds of millions starting to build to the upside in between around 64.8k to 65.2k approximately. So in that range, we do have some liquidity starting to build there in the hundreds of millions of dollars. But once again, at least for now, we still have a massive amount of liquidity still sitting at around 62.2k to 62.3k approximately. And with that being said, taking a look at Ethereum on the 3-day time frame, and right now we're still seeing that major bounce from this massive area of support in between 2150 to 2.2k. So not much has changed here in that regard, and we still have this massive amount of resistance at approximately 2.8k. So 2.8k is still the significant level of resistance to pay attention to, and if we can see a breakout above 2.8k, then expect a much larger bullish movement that would follow over the following weeks or months if we can actually see a breakout above 2.8k, which obviously for now has not happened. And if we're taking a look at the daily time frame, technically speaking, this bullish divergence is still currently active, considering at least for now, we've not confirmed an invalidation signal to invalidate the bullish divergence. So like I've been saying every day since over the last 2 to 3 weeks, since all the way back down here below 2.3k, this bullish divergence is still currently active, as I've been saying since all the way back down there. But while the price of ETH is playing out this shorter term bullish trend here on the daily time frame, of course, during this bullish trend, we can see the occasional pullback from time to time along the way up, like what we saw just here, and like what we're seeing at the moment as a result of this bearish divergence that has been confirmed here on the 3-hour time frame, which I talked about in my last video, because we have confirmed higher highs in the price of ETH in the candle closes, while also confirming lower highs in the 3-hour Ethereum RSI, which confirms a traditional bearish divergence, meaning we're losing bullish momentum just in the imminent short term. And so, like I said, just around here, we're likely going to see either a slight pullback or at least some choppy sideways price action as the most likely outcomes over the next few days. And since I've been saying that, we've seen exactly that as expected. And there's still a good chance that this will continue to play out potentially over the next 1 day as well, considering that usually Ethereum follows what Bitcoin's doing. And with Bitcoin just now playing out this bearish divergence and still running into this major resistance, there's a good chance that the price will continue to struggle just in the short term, maybe for the next day or so. But with that being said, this does not necessarily mean this bullish trend on the daily time frame is over. Because once again, the bullish divergence on this daily time frame is still technically active, but as always, the price does not move in a straight line. So we can see shorter term bearish divergences play out while the larger bullish divergence is playing out. Something like that, for example, is a possibility. And with that being said, taking a look at Solana on the daily time frame, and over the last one day, we've continued the short-term bullish trend, and of course the bullish divergence still playing out as expected with another pump to the upside over the last one day. And this has obviously further confirmed a successful retest, flipping this previous resistance into new support, and that area is sitting in between around 138 to 143. So this is clearly bullish price structure here in the short term. Anytime where we break out above key resistance and then come back down to retest it and flip it into new support and bounce from that area, that is price structure heading in the bullish direction. And so this is, of course, simply further confirms the bullish trend here in the short term, and further confirms that the fact that the bullish divergence is still playing out, which is what I've been saying over the last few weeks anyway. And of course, the next major area of resistance to the upside to pay attention to is sitting in between around 159 to 163, but we could find some short-term resistance at around 153 to 154 based on previous resistance. So just keep that in mind as well. And now, if we can actually see a breakout above this resistance, so above 159 to 163, in that case, we have more resistance in between 170 to 175 and a massive area of resistance in between 183 to 187 based on previous price action. And as for support, in case we see another short-term pullback, in that case, we still have this major area, which is now acting as support once again in between 138 to 143. And for now, like I said earlier, the shorter-term trend is still looking bullish despite the occasional pullback that we see along the way. And if we're zooming into that 8-hour time frame, we can see that over the last half a week to nearly 1 week now, of course, we played out this overbought signal here in that 8-hour Solana RSI, and that played out very successfully over the last half a week, approximately resetting the RSI, which now gives us more room to the upside to continue the bullish trend. Because as I've said over the last few days and over the last nearly 1 week, this of course results in basically some short-term bearish price action or neutral price action, but this is not necessarily a trend reversal signal confirming the end of the bullish trend or anything like that, because this can happen during a bullish trend like what we saw just here before potentially giving us more room to the upside later on. And so overall, the short-term trend is still looking bullish, despite, of course, playing out these short-term pullbacks along the way during the bullish trend. But with that being said, there is a possible bearish divergence forming right now on the 8-hour time frame, with higher highs already confirmed in the price action in the candle closes and lower highs potentially forming in the RSI. But with that being said, we still potentially need to see a little bit more confirmation to actually confirm this bearish divergence. But it is something to pay attention to in case we do see more confirmation with more red candle closes confirming. But even if it does confirm, once again, a bearish divergence is not necessarily a trend reversal signal. Just like an overbought signal will likely result in a bit of a short-term cool-off if it does confirm, potentially maybe seeing another retest of this support right here, but still remaining within the bullish trend for as long as we're holding above this area in between 138 to 143. So overall, things are still looking more bullish than bearish in terms of the trend right now for Solana. And if you want to trade these moves in the price of any crypto, once again, check out those links down below this video to claim those extra bonuses. And if you want to actually know how to trade crypto, no matter if the price is bullish, bearish, or chopping around sideways, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions. And the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.